You know, Alex, Hippocrates said a long time ago, I don't know how you knew, all disease begins in the gut.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward to Harvard, for example. In 2020, they put out an article showing that all disease begins in the leaky gut.
Mm-hmm.
What is the connection between the gut, energy levels, fat loss, and longevity?
Yeah, great question. It's all so connected, and it's the realization of how important gut health is revolutionizing modern day science. Thank God it is. You know, like you said, Hippocrates had it right to begin with, but there's a second brain in our gut. And I'm sure the viewers or the listeners have all experienced butterflies in their stomach or, you know, having a gut instinct. And that's because there is a second brain in there in our gut. And when our gut gets inflamed, it sends wonky signals up to the brain, our brain in our head. And those wonky signals can now start to get us out of alignment and making not the best decisions, you know, suboptimal decisions. And obviously, if you have suboptimal decisions, you're going to be making poor choices, and that leads to a suboptimal life. And it's really just all starts in the gut. So when you have a clear signal going up from the gut to the brain on this gut-brain axis, this nerve that travels to both brains, and things are clear, you just start to have more space around your thoughts, and more space around your thoughts, you can make better decisions, better choices, which creates a better destiny. So gut health is just proving over and over again that it's so valuable to our mental health. And mental health is just as important as physical health. It goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's a great reminder that by taking care of our gut, it will affect every other aspect of our life, mental, physical, emotional, and even spiritual.
It's so true that it's connected to everything. I love how you explain the butterflies and the nerves. When was the last time you had those butterflies? And
It's been about a year since I had butterflies in my stomach.
Has it been?
Yeah, lovely lady.
A lovely lady. Okay, I love that. I love that. Before I speak on stage, sometimes I'll experience those butterflies, those nerves, and it's a really interesting feeling because there's two sides to it. Part of it is there's a fearful side, like this is a new area of experience outside your comfort zone, and then there's like an excitement too as well. But you're right. It starts from the gut, it goes to the brain, goes to other parts of your body. So whatever is happening in the gut, Alex, happens in the brain and vice versa.
Yes.
And I don't think a lot of people know the connection between mental health and the gut. And I know mental health is a big area of focus for you. So I'd love for you to just go to take a little bit of a deep dive into how it's connected, the gut and the mental health.
Yeah, it's like I said, there's a gut-brain axis that goes, and it's all connected. And when the gut gets inflamed, it starts to send these wonky signals, and then we start to react instead of respond because it's firing really fast, and we're become hyper-reactive. So by having a clear gut, it gives clarity around the mind, and it leads to mental health. And that's what got me into this business, was having my own mental health issues, you know, with anxiety and brain fog and fatigue, and all my relationships were suffering because I had this cloud around my brain.
How old were you?
This was in 2019. So I was 2019. This is what, 5 years ago? So 35 years old, 36 years old. Yeah.
So it was affecting every part of your life.
Yeah, it was affecting every part of my life, business, romantic.
Were you experiencing depression as well?
I wasn't experiencing depression, but maybe early signs of depression, you know, and was really in a rut, even though my life on paper looked amazing. You know, I was living in Beverly Hills, driving a brand new Range Rover, office in Century City, you know, having my own business, but I was crashing and burning, you know, and it wasn't due to that I wasn't doing the things. You know, I was working out, I was eating clean, and I was meditating. I was doing all these modalities, but it wasn't until I got a call from a shareholder checking in on me who was a naturopathic doctor. And thank God I told the opportunity to tell him the truth. And I said, look, I'm not doing too good. I got anxiety and I have brain fog and this fatigue. I'm doing all the things. I can't shake it. And he said 3 words to me that changed my life. He said, heal your gut. I said, heal my gut. Tell me more. And he said, yeah, if you could come to understand the relationship of the science between your gut and your brain and the sun and the soil and fungi and beyond. He said, you will upgrade your relationship to nature and you will shift from a consumer to a co-creator in this world. And that line really just landed for me, and I knew there was something there. So I began getting obsessed about studying about the gut and how it relates to all aspects of our life, mental health, a big part of it, and how, the sun and fungi play a big factor in this. And I realized pretty quickly that fungi are very biologically valuable to the gut. They're very rich in polysaccharides, and these polysaccharides help with digestion. They help with longevity. They're anti-cancerous. They're anti-hypertensive. So they help restore the gut. And once you have good gut health, now you start to have good mental health. And that's what worked for me. I got onto a functional mushroom protocol, and it radically changed my whole situation, and all my relationships began to improve. And within a short period of time, like really short period of time, I had a total turnaround, and I attribute it all to that, that protocol on my gut health.
Wow. Well, that speaks volumes. The fact that it benefited you so much. Was that the first step, doing the functional mushrooms, or was there something that you did before that?
No, that was the first step. It was really just get my gut health back on track. And then from there, I started taking it farther and farther, like I always do. I like to really go all in.
I'm like you, Alex. Me too. What were the other things that you did?
So I started stacking other functional mushrooms on top of the protocol. At first, it started with chaga and turkey tail for the gut health. And I noticed a difference within a week. I was like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I started getting clarity again. It was the first time that the brain fog was gone. And when the brain fog was gone, now I can make better decisions. And then so I started experimenting with more functional mushrooms, and I realized these mushrooms have been around for thousands of years in the East and used in health practices for a really long time, but not so much used here in the West, even though they're fully legal. So I started doing reishi for sleep and lion's mane for cognitive function and cordyceps for energy. And I radically transformed my health in a short amount of time. Then I started biohacking in there as well, cold therapy and breath work. And then I started adding a microdose of psilocybin in there. And by the time that whole stack was done, I was on a whole new trajectory and I was flying high again.
Yeah, no pun intended.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Let's talk more about the world of fungi. Is it fungi or fungi? I think they're both
fungi,
correct, right? Yeah. Tomato. You have a company called 𝙎𝙬𝙬, and if you're watching if you're watching on YouTube, we have some of the products here that I have been using. You use the word obsessed, and I actually like that word. Some people have a negative connotation with that word. You got obsessed with understanding the gut, understanding these mushrooms, and you applied it. You saw what it did for you.
Yeah.
Was that the inspiration behind creating this company?
It literally was. It was completely anecdotal for me, and I realized it was subjective to my experience. However, the more I started diving into it and researching and talking to people and getting out to these conferences, there was something really there with these mushrooms, and they're incredibly powerful, and they're their own intelligence, and I know that sounds a bit out there, but they've literally been on this earth for eons, hundreds of millions of years.
Is that why you called it eons?
It
is.
There we go.
I love it.
And they have survived ice ages. They are innately intelligent. There's all these cool experiments and research that comes out that shows that there's actually an innate intelligence in this kingdom. Mushrooms are their own kingdom, animal kingdom, plant kingdom, and then the fungi kingdom. It's its own thing. And the more that we can get them introduced to our human bodies, it's like they start to give us upgrades and update us with this technology. We call it nature's technology at 𝙎𝙬𝙬. And yeah, it just starts to give you these codes that nature has always had, and now we can start to interplate them into our lives.
You're right. It is a kingdom, and they've been around for eons. I see why you named the company 𝙎𝙬𝙬𝙬. They're communicating with each other as well, right?
Yes.
There's this connection that we can't see, but it's happening in the earth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Share more about that. It just fascinates me when I learn about this stuff.
Absolutely. Well, the largest living organism in the world is the mycelial network that travels all underneath the earth. It's hundreds of millions of miles. It's incredibly big, and it transports all nutrients to all plant life.
It's amazing.
So anything that's grown, any tree or crop or plant or pretty much anything that's come out of the earth has to travel through this mycelial network. That's pretty incredible. And it's innately intelligent. So yeah, the more I learned about that, the more I just got fascinated that there's like, wow, there's really something to all this. It's really, truly all connected. It's not just a platitude. It's really all connected. And going through this mycelial network is like the brain of Mother Earth. And yeah, it's just been a really interesting journey. And the more that I have a relationship with these mushrooms, the more that I'm shown insights and information, and all in a really harmonic way. So it's drastically improved my mental health, which I'm really passionate about. And that's why we started Eons, was to help people with mental health issues. And even if it's on the lighter side of it, like, sleep or productivity, and on the heavier side of things with anxiety and depression and addiction and PTSD, like we're really doing our best to champion this brand to really help people with modern day issues.
I love that you're doing that. Let's talk more about the specific types of mushrooms, especially the ones that you're using here in your products. You mentioned lion's mane.
Yeah.
Lion's mane is known for its sort of nootropic, brain boosting benefits. I personally love lion's mane for that. Could you share a little bit more about the benefits with lion's mane?
Absolutely. Lion's mane is probably one of my favorites. It's remarkable, and it's starting to get a lot of traction in modern day Western society for its nootropic purposes.
Yeah.
And they're calling it nature's Adderall, which I love. And it's shown to help.
He wants some mushrooms here. Ziggy, my
he
dog
knows what's
Ziggy.
up. Hey, Ziggy.
He's probably just going to flop right there next to you. There he goes.
Yeah.
That's his spot.
Nice. Lion's mane it's like a modern day nootropic, and it helps big time with cognitive function. It helps with a lot of other bigger things too, like cancer and dementia and these kind of things. So it's really starts to create a neurogenesis in the brain, like psilocybin. However, lion's mane is fully legal. And yeah, it's getting a lot of credibility now in the biohacking world and the health world. And I believe it's like one of the best supplements out there. And it's really exciting to see it start to come to the mainstream.
I love lion's mane too. Might be one of my favorites, but they're all great. You said the word neurogenesis. You know what's interesting is that several years ago, not that long ago, maybe 30 years ago, I might be off by a few years, scientists believe that once brain cells die, that you can't create new ones, right? There was no such thing as neurogenesis, the creation of new brain cells.
Right.
Obviously, we know that not to be the case. Right. We know that we can produce new brain cells, whether you're 21 or 91.
Yeah.
Lion's mane is one of those compounds that allow you to do that.
Exactly.
That's why it helps so much with energy and creativity and focus. If you are an entrepreneur or somebody who just wants to have energy and focus, lion's mane is what you want to use. Then we have something like reishi, which you also mentioned, which is an adaptogenic herb, which can help you be more calm.
Yes.
Or if your body needs it, potentially give you more energy and focus. So share a little bit more about reishi and how reishi works too.
Yeah, they call reishi the queen of the mushrooms. It's incredibly beneficial for calming people down and bringing them back to homeostasis, so a state where there's no stress, and that's a beautiful thing. And can also help people sleep better by inducing REM sleep. And in REM sleep, we get to is where we dream. And, that's why we put it in our formula, is to get people to...
It's in this one, the deeper sleep one?
It's in the deeper sleep and the gummies.
Oh yeah, I see. There's 7 milligrams of reishi. Okay, and melatonin. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about this. Continue with the reishi conversation.
Yeah, it's a beautiful mushroom that really helps bring people to that homeostasis so they can relax and get, fall into that REM sleep where they can get that restorative sleep that they need. And in restorative sleep, you could have lucid dreams. And for me, I love lucid dreams. I think it's super cool, and it blows my mind on a regular basis. And we wanted to give people an experience where sleeping wasn't like a chore. Like people, I was like, oh, I need to get this amount of sleep, which you do. It's very important. But we wanted to make it more fun. So you could go into these dreams and tap into new abilities and new possibilities, and maybe even do some inner work on yourself. So that's why we came up with our lucid dreaming protocol, and the reishi mushroom plays a factor in that.
I love lucid dreaming as well. And I love REM sleep and deep sleep. REM sleep is important as it pertains to processing short-term memory for long-term memory. So it just helps you with your day-to-day sort of mental capacity. Deep sleep also has benefits, but it has more of like fat loss and testosterone recovery.
Yes.
You know what's interesting, Alex? I've interviewed 700 plus people now on the show, and some of them have been sleep experts and scientists. And nobody's been able to tell me, and I'm going to share this with you. You probably don't have the answer, but you find this interesting.
Cool.
When I go to bed at night and when I lie down to get ready for bed, my bedroom, first of all, there's no activities there other than, lovemaking and sleep. Like there's no TV. I don't hang out there. Yeah. So my body knows when I'm in that bed, it's only for sleep. There's nothing else going on there.
Sanctuary.
It's my sanctuary.
Yeah.
So as soon as I lie down and when I lie down, I start thinking about things that happened during the day, and I start practicing gratitude, and I start kind of rewinding the day and just revisiting all the things that I'm grateful for that happened that day, saying some prayers. And then I start closing my eyes, and most nights, not every night, as soon as I start closing my eyes, I immediately start to remember the dreams I had the night before.
Wow. Yeah.
And I don't know why that keeps happening to me. It's been like this for years. I've asked sleep doctors and all this, but has that ever happened to you? Does that ever happen to you? Or am I the only one here that's wondering what's going on?
That's super cool. I've had that only in limited experiences, but I've asked a very similar question to like a dream expert that I met in Mexico. And this lady studies dreams, has for a long time. Her name's Alejandra. And she told me is that there's like a pathway, like a pathway in the brain that if you pay more and more attention to it, it's like the dream pathway. And the more that you pay attention to it, that pathway is just going to get opened up more and open up more. And you'll be able to communicate with yourself in the dream realm. And she said the more that you give attention to this, if you journal about it, if you wake up in the morning and you have that dream and you journal about it and you meditate on it, and that pathway in the brain is going to just get cleared out, and you'll be able to go back into your dreams, because you're just, it's a little over my pay grade, but I start to understand that by just putting your attention to that. I bet you, Ben, if you did that and journaled about it and stuff like that, you'd actually be going right back there.
Fascinating, because when I wake up in the morning, I don't necessarily remember my dream. Sometimes I do.
Right.
But then when I go to bed that night, I'll remember it from the night before. It's just so interesting how that happens. So sleep is very important. If you're watching this on YouTube and this happens to you, let me know and comment down below. I'm curious if I'm the only one. Turkey tail mushroom is so incredible for the immune system.
Yes.
Share more about turkey tail.
Turkey tail is amazing for the immune system. There's a story where Paul Stamets, he's like the legend. He's the legend of mushrooms right now in this world. Probably the most well-known guy about mushrooms. I've met him. He's a great guy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I met him at our Wonderland psychedelic conference a couple years ago.
That's where you launched your products,
That's
your
correct.
Company.
Yeah.
Here in Miami.
That's right, here in Miami. We love Miami. Yeah, Miami's been very good to us.
Welcome back.
It's good to be here. And that's where I met Paul Stamets. And he has a story that goes on where his mom was diagnosed with cancer, a pretty severe stage of cancer. And the doctors had pretty much given up on her. And he recommended to his mom that she get on a turkey tail protocol. It was like a few capsules a day. I don't know the exact strength, but it was a relatively moderate dose of turkey tail. And she stacked that with lion's mane, and no psychedelic. It wasn't psilocybin. It was strictly turkey tail and I believe some lion's mane. And within a matter of months, her cancer was cured.
Wow.
And that was, they use her now as like case studies and all this kind of stuff.
Amazing.
So turkey tail is super powerful. I give it to my dog. I have my dog Bruce is my best friend.
What kind of dog do you have?
He's a Lagotto Romagnolo.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, super rare breed out of Italy.
You got to show me a photo after the
conversation. Of course, he's my screensaver.
I love it.
For sure.
Is he bigger than mine or smaller?
No, he's smaller. He's about 40 pounds.
Okay, so about half. Mine's about 85, 90.
Yeah.
So you give him turkey tail?
Now I do.
In the form of capsules? Or?
In powder. I put it into his raw kibble and that kind of stuff. But Bruce, I haven't talked about this publicly very much, but Bruce got really sick not too long ago, and he got an infection in his chest, and it was really scary. The doctors didn't know if they were going to be able to pull through, and they asked me if I was ready to put him down. I was like,
Wow.
no, I'm not ready to put him down.
How old is he?
He's young. He's like 3.5 years old.
Oh, he's a baby.
He's a baby. He's so athletic. He's in like amazing shape.
Oh my gosh.
And so it was a real shock. So I was like, no, just like keep him alive. Do whatever you got to do. And he was on life support for about a week.
What?
Yeah, it was really intense.
Sorry, bro.
Oh, it's okay because he survived and like full recovery. And I started giving him turkey tail as soon as I brought him home. And this guy now has more energy than ever. And, I'm not saying it's all because of the turkey tail, but I've never seen him with this much energy, and he was on life support for like a week. So he's probably got a new lease on life, but turkey tail is, it's an exceptional mushroom for antioxidating, and it helps restore gut health as well. And 85% of the immune system is in the gut. So it just makes you that much better at fighting things off and all this kind of stuff.
Amazing. Bruce is a beast.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to hear that, man.
Thank you.
I'm going to get Ziggy on some turkey tail after hearing that story. Ziggy,
Yeah.
we'll get you on that, my friend. What other mushrooms should we be aware of?
Well, cordyceps is another good one for energy. That's one of the next products that we're launching with Eons is a very high dose of cordyceps. There's some really cool stories out of Tibet where, these, Tibetan monks were climbing these mountains in the Himalayas, and they would notice that there was these yaks that were up really, really high up in the mountains, and they couldn't figure out how these yaks got up there until they realized that they were eating these worms, and these worms were filled with cordycepin, this fungi. And because of that, these yaks were able to oxygenate their blood through the cordycepin and just reach higher and higher altitudes.
Interesting.
So it's one of the most expensive mushrooms in the world, the real good cordycepin that comes from the Himalayas. And
Is that where you're sourcing it from?
We get some of it from there. We'll see if we'll be able to source it all.
There's only a certain amount of time during a year where you can get that from the Himalayas.
Exactly.
Like 𝙎𝙐𝙎𝙎𝙎.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Exactly. That's a good comparison.
Certain time of the year. I think I had Man of Vitality, and they were talking about that. I think 3 months out of the year they could do that.
Yeah. Man is a great brand.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah. Brad and David.
David, amazing.
Amazing people. I would love to be able to source. I met a guy that's apparently importing the cordyceps from the Himalayas. We'll see if I'm able to get it. If not, I have a wonderful lady in Utah that grows it. Won't be as the same quality, but that's very benefit. Before I get too sidetracked, but because in our product we got 14 patents on bioavailability delivery system, so I could use very, very little of the cordyceps, but because the way that it's delivered, the human body absorbs it really quickly, and I could use a lot less. So that's very helpful for us that we don't have to go and source, a big, huge, large amount.
That's brilliant. That's such a game changer.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of like structured water, right? Like it just makes it more bioavailable.
That's the whole thing. It's because it's not what you could consume. It's just what your body can absorb.
Correct.
It's what it's all about.
Correct.
So once I learned that, I was like, okay, we got to make products that are very bioavailable so people could feel the effects, So yeah, that's our plan with the cordyceps mushroom. That's one of the most expensive mushrooms in the world, and for good reason. And it helps oxygenate the blood is on its own. So by introducing that, it starts to create more oxygen in your blood just by consuming this mushroom.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
You sent me some products, and I've been using them with my fiance. I was telling you, my fiance said it was the best gummy she's ever had.
Nice.
And there's no sugar.
That's right.
So
Keto friendly.
It's keto friendly if you want to stay in ketosis. The one I have here is the Common Focus. I'm actually going to it says take one, but I take two.
Yeah, I take a couple.
I'm going to take a couple. You want a couple?
Sure.
There you go. It's your product.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this one is one I take during the day. The Common Focus, I just took two right now. What is this doing for me right now?
It's literally like it says, it's calming you down. There's a lot of vitamin D in there. I know we get some good vitamin D here in Miami.
In Miami, yep, that's true.
But for the states that don't, there's a lot of vitamin D. There's magnesium as well. I'm a big believer in magnesium. There's the lion's mane mushroom that's going to give you the cognitive function, the focus.
Ashwagandha,
a little 5-HTP in there. Ginkgo biloba. So
ginkgo. Ginkgo is amazing for getting blood flow to your brain. So it makes sense how this could help you stay focused. Tastes so good. This is the watermelon one.
Mm-hmm.
Dangerous because I could eat like 20 of these.
I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done
Oh,
it.
you have?
I have, yeah.
I think I've had 4 at once, and I'm like, I think I did too much. Okay, so that's the common focus. Then we have
The coffee.
what?
Oh, I was going to say the coffee, yeah.
Yeah, then we have the coffee one. So the coffee one, I actually started using it, and this is great for me to travel with. Actually,
Yeah.
it's functional coffee where it's, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it here. Oh, it smells so good. I love the way it smells. But it's smart mushroom coffee. It has some vitamins in it, but it has 𝙎𝙐𝙎𝙎𝙎𝙎, the one you mentioned, lion's mane, and then it has a proprietary blend of different things. You want to explain this proprietary blend and why you put this in here?
Yeah. Well, I was a pilot for 18 years, and
It's crazy.
in the aviation community, coffee is like the thing, right? It's
gold.
Like, it's gold. It's the drug of choice, you know. And it's
I understand. I'm not a pilot, but I get it.
yeah. And however, in my aviation career, after I would have 2 cups of coffee, I would start to get pretty jittery and anxious, and I didn't actually really like the feeling. But then it's so socially encouraged, and the flight attendants are coming out with it, and I got just stuck in this loop of drinking a lot of coffee and not really enjoying the feeling after. So when I created this company, I was like, man, I would love to create a smarter way to drink coffee so you don't get any of the negative effects about I like drinking coffee, like anxiety or jitters or the caffeine crash. So we did a bunch of research, and we partnered up with this formulator who's been formulating for 25 years, and we stacked this coffee. So it does have coffee in it. I didn't want to take away people's coffee because I love coffee.
It's ground coffee.
It's ground Colombian espresso. And then we figured out a bunch of different adaptogens in there to compensate for any caffeine crash. That's the cordyceps mushroom, keeps you energized all day. It's got the lion's mane in there to give you the focus. And it's got the 𝙎𝙐𝙬𝙎𝙬 in there for your gut health. And then we put a bunch of other ingredients in there to just keep you regulated and keep you dialed in without any anxiety or jitters. That's where the L-theanine comes in, and 5-HTP is a mood enhancer. And it's a really stacked formula. And it was really our way to introduce Eons to the market so we can build safety and trust around it, because people are like, oh, it's a mushroom coffee. Okay, I'm willing to try that, because a lot of times people hear mushrooms, they automatically jump to psilocybin and psychedelics.
This is true.
So this was our way to put Eons in people's hands and get liquid to lips so they could try it, build safety and trust around it, so that we can eventually introduce a legal psychedelic microdose product with the protocol. And that's something we've been working on for about 2 years now. And it's getting, by the time this podcast is out, it will be launched.
Available.
It will be available in 49 states. And I'm super, super excited about that one, Ben. That's like my baby. And I'm really just stoked to see how the market reacts to it.
I want to talk more about that. Let's just close the loop on this coffee.
Yes.
This is something that I will take with me when I travel.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to Vegas in a couple of days. I'm going to take this with me.
Cool.
Because when you travel, it's hard to find clean coffee.
It is.
And Starbucks is not clean coffee.
That's right.
Dunkin' Donuts is not clean coffee. But what I will do, I will go to Starbucks and just get a cup of filtered boiled water. They have a filtration machine, so that's clean water. And then I'll add this in there.
Boom.
Take a packet of the Mana Vitality, put it in there, and then I have
that's
myself feeling great while I'm traveling
and
supporting my immune system. So this is called the Smart Mushroom Coffee. There's more products here. If you want to get any of Eon's products, there's a discount code that Alex hooked you up with. If you head to eons.com/ketocamp, that is EONS, spell it right?
Yep.
EONS.com/ketocamp. You could learn more about the products and use the coupon code KETOCAMP, which is camp with a K. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the sign, camp with a K, to get 15% off your order. The next thing that we're going to discuss is the main reason why you started this company, which is to put a dent in disease, but specifically mental illness.
Yes.
And microdosing is becoming more and more popular.
Yep.
A lot of people are becoming aware of it.
Yeah.
And you have a legal way of getting this out to the masses in 49 states, except in Louisiana. If you live in Louisiana, sorry, you can't get it right now. That might change. So what is this all about? Tell us more, and who is it for?
Yeah. Thank you, Ben.
I want to take a quick break from the video you're watching to share something with you that has made a big difference with my health and the thousands and thousands of students that I teach all across the world. Now, this is a unique device that has been shown to help with skin health, sore muscles, wrinkles, psoriasis, eczema, scoliosis, migraines, sleep issues, arthritis, acne, scar tissue, wound healing, relaxation, and also boost testosterone levels. It's red light therapy. Turn it on, and as you can see, I just leave it there on my desk as I work. 10, 20 minutes per day will suffice. Then head over to bondcharge.com/KetoCamp and use the coupon code KetoCamp to get 15% off your red light device. So whether it's these Bond Charge blue light blocking glasses, their sauna blanket, or any of their awesome products, use that coupon code KetoCamp at checkout. We'll drop a link down below. Go check them out. They're awesome. And let's get back to today's video.
If I could help people, if I could help solve the problem of mental health, that would be amazing. So that's what really gets me up in the morning, gets me excited, is how can we solve that problem? And, obviously there's more studies and more research that needs to be done, but the studies that have already come out around how psychedelic mushrooms can help mental health is astounding. And so psilocybin is illegal. And even though I love taking psilocybin microdose products, it's illegal. And I won't touch anything that's illegal. It's just not something I'm interested in.
Is it legal in any city? Is it in San Francisco, or do they delegalize it?
They've decriminalized it. So it's on the path to legalization.
Okay.
And I'm an advocate for the legalization of psychedelics, especially psilocybin, done responsibly. And that's another reason why I wanted to bring a legal psychedelic microdose product out to show the masses, to show the public how harmless this actually is. And it's already legalized. So it makes it very easy for us to study and research and get data.
And this is not psilocybin.
Correct. It's not psilocybin. So, there's probably millions of species of mushrooms. There's thousands that they've identified. And out of those thousands of species that they've identified, there's probably about 100 that have psychoactive properties to them. And most people, when they think psychedelic or psychoactive properties, they associate it with psilocybin. However, we've identified a mushroom that's been around for thousands and thousands of years, that's been documented in a lot of ancient religious texts actually as well. And this mushroom does not contain psilocybin, and it's completely legal, and it's been studied heavily in Russia. And the results that they're getting back from these studies show amazing results for anxiety and addiction and depression and PTSD, some really, really heavy stuff.
What is it called?
It is called Amanita muscaria.
How do you spell that?
Amanita, muscaria, muscaria. And this mushroom is,
Amanita muscaria.
you've for sure seen it. It's been in front of our eyes the whole time, which alludes to its genius of this mushroom, is that it's been very prevalently in our pop culture. It's the emoji.
Yeah. This is it right here.
Everybody's seen it.
Yeah,
right?
show it on the screen, Cameron. For those watching on YouTube, we'll show on the screen. This is the emoji, the Apple emoji. This is it right here.
This is the mushroom. When people actually think of a mushroom, they're actually probably thinking of this, which it goes to the genius of this mushroom, is that this mushroom has been able to be in our subconscious. It's been in our pop culture, and it's kept itself legal this entire time.
That's
so now
wild.
I could study it, and now I could bring it to the masses responsibly and, introduce them to a protocol that will help their mental health issues very responsibly, very safely, with a true microdose using our technology, our bioavailability technology. And I'm just really excited to see how the market reacts to this, and to really help people with their mental health.
So important, bro. This is such a beautiful mushroom too. Oh my gosh, it's incredible looking.
It is.
Will this be available on your website as well?
Of course. This is direct to eons. This is why we built the company, was to create an on-ramp to, the bridge of wellness, if you will. And I believe that psychedelic microdosing can play a part in that bridge. I've seen it work amazing on friends and family, and the studies that I've read about it are incredible. So yeah, we're really, really stoked about it.
I'm going to buy this for you.
Yeah, I love that.
That's beautiful. That's incredible. All kidding aside, it's so important for people to have a different tool in the toolbox that's not just medication and masking things,
Yes.
especially in a world where we live in with the mental health just on the rise and all these people dealing with depression and suicidal thoughts. And it's sad to see.
Yeah.
And the fact that they want to feel better, they want to do better. Their doctors want them to feel better, but their toolkit is limited.
Yeah.
So to have this in their toolkit with the potential of it weaning them off these meds, allowing them to live their life, it's so exciting, bro.
It is. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, no, I'm really, thank you for that. And I'm really glad you put it like that, as like a toolkit. Like, this is a tool, you know, like this isn't a silver bullet where it's going to solve all your problems, but what it's going to do for the user of this psychedelic microdose, legal psychedelic microdose, is it's going to start to give you space in your thoughts. You know, there's a lot of noise out there in the world today. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of just information flying around, and who knows what's true or what's not true, and a lot of distractions. And this is going to...
And it's designed that way.
It sure is. It sure is, you know? And this mushroom, what it's going to do for the user is going to make you feel really calm, really, really calm. And it's going to start to give you this sense of peace. And I believe peace is really valuable, and it's really important these days that we have that, you know, cultivate that feeling of peace from within. And in that peace, you know, you're going to start to get these moments of peace that you can start to reflect on your life. And now the mushroom is going to start working its way through your subconscious mind, whether you're realizing or not. It's going to get in there, and it's going to start to give this intelligence. And in this intelligence, you're going to find more time for peace, and it's going to start to be able to show you things, and you start to ask yourself, oh, I wonder why I make these decisions, or I wonder why I go for this substance or this kind of thing. And it's going to allow you, it's going to give the user the tool to start to make new choices in their life on their own will, on their own vocation. So it's pretty cool. It's really showing the user that they have the power within them, and it's been there the whole time. And it's going to do it in a really gentle way. And if the user is like, man, this is really cool, and they start to take too much, well, it's going to probably just put them to bed. You know, it's going to put them to sleep, and you'll have to sleep it off. Like, if it doesn't start to feel good, it's because you've taken too much. But it's not going to be anything that's scary. It's not anything that you're going to trip out on, like a psilocybin type experience. It's a different psychedelic. It's a different journey altogether. And there's no crazy visuals, or, you know, if people are wondering, oh, I'm going to have this crazy trip, it's not like that. You know, you might have some crazy dreams, but that's all things that are going on within your own subconscious mind. So it's going to be something that's never been done before, and that's really exciting for me. And I'm really, but in that, there's going to create, you know, a new paradigm that people will have the tool to tap into their own inner peace again, and I believe that's really valuable.
So valuable, Alex. What's the name of what's going to be the name of it?
The name of it is called Dialed, because I believe the timing is dialed for every individual. When they take it, it will be dialed for them, and it's going to enable them to recalibrate their mind back into their heart and get onto that frequency of peace and love. And I believe, you know, that's what this is all about. And in the world today, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. So the more that we could recalibrate into that frequency of peace and love, I believe will create, you know, a better reality for everybody.
Perfect name. You know,
Thank
it's interesting. Just a couple hours ago, before you came here to my studio, I posted a video on my Instagram stories. And I started off the video saying, you cannot escape a prison if you don't know you're in one. And I went on to share about how so many of us are in a mental prison.
Yeah.
But how could you escape if you're not aware of it?
Totally.
So the first step is awareness.
For sure.
Second step is to slow down
Yep.
your thoughts and start to respond versus react.
Yes.
And you mentioned like this product, Dialed, actually helps you kind of slow down and become aware of your thoughts. That's why it came up in my head.
Yeah.
And the average person has about 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah.
And it's usually negative thoughts and the same thoughts from the day before. And they're just allowing it to just automatically just go on in their subconscious mind, this pattern that's just ingrained into our paradigm.
Yes.
When we start to pause or take something to allow us to pause or whatever it is,
Sure.
then we could slow down and assess. Did that thought, that conversation I just had with myself, did it serve me? Or was it a result of my self-limiting beliefs and my past experiences, right? You could pause and you could say, it didn't serve me. So I'm going to choose a better thought, better sentence, because in reality, the most influential person that I could ever speak to is myself.
Yes.
And for you too. And for those listening and watching, like, you are the most influential person you'll speak to.
Yeah.
And of course, there's breath work. There's different books. There's gratitude and ways to open up that gateway to awareness. But having a supplement to allow you to do that, I think is just so wonderful, Alex.
Thank you, Ben. And I love the way that you put that. It's so true. You know, we have all these thoughts a day, you know, it's 50, 60, 70,000 thoughts a day. And sometimes we could just get caught in a loop, you know, and these thoughts could just go from one thing to the other. And if we're not careful, if we're not present enough to really choose where we want these thoughts to go, they can really take us down like a spiral of negativity and depression and anxiety. And I've been there, you know, I've had anxiety, and I'm on the other side of it now. And this mushroom was a big help to that. So yeah, it's a tool to, like you said, put space around your thoughts. And then from there, you're going to start to feel more present. And that's all we really have, is this present moment, you know? So anxiety is usually worrying about the future, and depression is usually regret about the past, or regret about where it's going. So this is kind of just like clears the slate, and it's just like, hey, I'm just here and now it's going to enable the user to start to choose a new path. And for me, that's really exciting, you know, because you could get someone going in a whole new direction, but it'll be their choice, you know. It's all up to them. It's really going to be like, the protocol that we're coming out with this is really like a choose your own adventure. It's all gamified, and it's all really fun. We wanted to take the seriousness out of it and make it really fun for the user. And this isn't for everybody, you know, I do want to prefix that, but it is for the people that want to create more space in their life and more space around their thoughts. And if they're feeling like you're spinning on a hamster wheel, and you want to get dialed in again to your true self, this will definitely help you create the space for that, you know. And then it's up to you to take the next steps forward. And yeah.
Fantastic. Bob Proctor once said, don't look back in anger or forward in fear, but around you in awareness.
Beautiful.
It reminded me of what you just said. It's fear, right? Fear. Something that you have done, which blows my mind, is you were so scared of heights.
Yeah.
You were fearful, and that's probably an understatement. You could explain more, but you were like really afraid of heights.
Yeah.
And you became a pilot.
Yeah.
How the heck did that happen, dude?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Man, I was paralyzed by fear when I was a kid, about fear of heights. You know, I don't know what it was, but something happened in my subconscious mind when I was a kid, and it didn't allow me to, man, I would freak out if we were driving over a bridge. I would throw this whole like freak out scenario. And
really?
Yeah, it was really embarrassing thinking back to it. And I wouldn't go on rides at the amusement park with my friends. They're all going on these cool rides. And I was just like, no, I was all chickened out, but I was really, really scared. You know, I couldn't do it. And fast forward till I was 17, my parents, God bless them, tricked me to go on this flying lesson. You know, they brought me to the local airport and, oh, we're going to introduce you to someone. He's just going to show you around the airport. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And this guy's bringing me in a little airplane. I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden he's like, I hear clear for takeoff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. You know, and we start taking off.
Did you panic?
I was kind of frozen.
I was just shocked.
I was in shock. I couldn't believe this was happening. And at the same time, there was like this, you know, it was just very present though, of everything that was going on. And the gentleman, the instructor, as we're taking off, he says to me, you have control. And he's like, go ahead. And in that moment, I took the yoke, and he's like, say the words, I have control. And because that's what it is when you're flying, they hand over the controls between the pilots. And I said, I have control. And in that moment, I had the choice, you know, what do I do? And I just chose to keep flying the plane. And literally my fear started to disintegrate when I said those words, and I just started flying the airplane, you know, and we're flying all over my hometown. I see my childhood home and my high school and all this kind of stuff.
Wow.
And it was exhilarating.
Oh.
And I had no...
That was in Toronto?
This was outside of Toronto, yeah. And I had no fear in those moments. And, you know, we went through the whole flight, we landed and stuff. He landed. And then he said to me at the end, he goes, Alex, you're really a natural. And I don't know if that was true or not, but I chose to believe him because I just realized that, man, I just faced my biggest fear and it was awesome. And this guy's telling me I'm a natural. So it was a real aha moment for me. It was a real epiphany. And I was like, man, I spent my whole life in fear of something and it restricted me so much. And now I'm on the other side of it. And I realized that was all in my head. So it was a real big shift for me. And then I went on, you know, to become obsessed with aviation, and I was a commercial pilot and all these cool things. I flew many kind of aircraft. I taught the military, all kinds of cool stuff. I became obsessed. And it was because I realized that fear was just a limiting belief that I had.
That's so cool. That is amazing, bro.
Yeah.
I love stories like that. I really do. Because for the first 17 years of your life, you looked at fear as a red light, stop, go the opposite direction. Like, this is really bad. Then you had that moment where you got tricked into flying. You flew a plane, you got tricked into going on a plane and then flying the plane at the same time. And then you looked at fear as a green light. This means go, I should lean into it.
Yes.
So much so you became a freaking pilot.
Yes.
And did all these cool things. You know, it reminds me, one of the things I was deathly afraid of was speaking in front of people.
Yeah.
And I actually dropped out of college.
Wow.
Because the requirement was to finish a speech class and I had to speak in front of my classmates for 10 minutes and I didn't do it.
Wow.
And now my favorite thing in the world is to speak in front of people on stage.
There you go.
And I became obsessed with it, right? So your story is really relevant to my story. I leaned into the fear. Now it's all I want to do.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's like, it's an illusion, right? And once we could break through that illusion, there's gold on the other side. There's really freedom on the other side of that fear. So it's there. I look at it as a friend now, where it was like, it taught me the lesson, right? So if I didn't have it, I wouldn't have became a pilot and, you know, go on to do all these things. And same for you. If you didn't have that fear, once you broke through it, there's this now newfound freedom and excitement, and your soul is really lit up because you passed that test that you came here to do, right, in life. So life is just a funny game like that, you know. It's all these lessons and teachings, and I love it. And it's honestly, this mushroom is showing me all kinds of stuff like that. This Amanita muscaria,
the emoji mushroom.
The emoji mushroom, yeah. It's really something special, and I'm excited for people to have their own experiences with it, but it's constantly showing me these little things like that where, oh, you have resistance around that. What is that about? Maybe you should lean into that. And
well, you said the reason you flew out here to record with me is because you listened to what the mushrooms told you, what your intuition told you, and it said to come out here and record with me.
That's right. It's really getting me out of the survival mind of like do and go, and really shifting into what lights my soul up, giving these, you know, like I'll ask the question like, oh, am I meant to go, you know, and film with Ben? You know, even though I got a lot of stuff on the plate, and it was like this pulse of energy that came up, and it was like, yeah, it feels exciting to go. And I believe that's intuition. I believe it's something in there that's tapped into the subconscious mind. And for me, this is just like a whole new paradigm of interacting in the world, you know? So it's really, it's a cool shift. And these mushrooms are just so intelligent that it's fun to play around with them and get experiences with them responsibly, you know? Like, definitely responsibly, because with great power comes great responsibility, and these things are powerful. So that's why we're really, you know, I know I'm talking a lot about this, but I do want to end it on this, at least, is that I really want to make sure this is done responsibly, you know, and microdose. That's why everything we're doing is with a real, true microdose. That's why we got these patents on this delivery technology. So every microdose that a person consumes, we know exactly how much of the active ingredient they're getting. It doesn't matter what's going on in their gut, because it's not going through the gut. It's going directly into the bloodstream, and it's a true microdose with precise dosing. And it's very important for us at Eons that we do everything responsibly with a protocol, because I'm not here to try to get people to get high or trip out or anything like that. Like, I had lunch with a guy today, and he's like, oh man, this sounds so cool. You just take it and you get high within seconds. I'm like, no, it's actually not that. This is for people with mental health issues, you know, like that's where I really want to make an impact. Because if mental health is just so important, you know? So yeah, that's it's really valuable for us.
Yeah. Important caveat there. Couple things here as we land the plane. No pun intended.
Nice, Ben.
Minerals, minerals, minerals. You hear a lot of people out there speaking about the benefits of taking minerals. And it is important because in this day and age, our crops, our fruits, and our vegetables, they are depleted of minerals. So you've heard of the keto flu, you've heard of symptoms doing keto and fasting. People just don't feel good sometimes. This is the number one reason why. So my go-to for replenishing my electrolytes and my minerals, for enhancing my immune system, for gut support, for detoxification, is bean minerals. It has fulvic and humic compounds, and these have over 70 trace minerals and really important electrolytes to replenish your body with. Check out Bean Minerals over at beanminerals.com. Use the coupon code Azadi, my last name, at checkout to get a nice discount. That is AZADI at checkout over at beanminerals.com.
Metabolic freedom is something that I preach. It's the title of my new book that's coming out next year.
Cool.
To me, it essentially means our metabolism. God built this metabolism to use whatever fuel is available, to use it for energy and burn fat and feel good.
Nice.
That's what metabolic freedom is, where you're not counting every calorie that goes into your mouth, weighing every piece of food, and you're detaching from that old dogma. So I want to ask you, Alex, what are your top 3 favorite ways to achieve metabolic freedom?
Ooh, I love that. I love the term metabolic freedom, by the way. Great. That's
Thank
a
you.
great title. And that just feels to me like a real true sense of freedom, because if you can master your eating and like your hunger and that kind of stuff, and master your metabolism, that's a real code in this world, you know? Like eating for me has been such a challenge in my life. Like it's still my like go-to medicine, you know, my emotional eating or this kind of stuff. And I'm finally just getting on the other end of it, where I'm like, like this is a whole new paradigm here. So, okay, to your question, one of them would be cold therapy for me. I love it. It changed my life a few years ago. I think it was 2020 when I got into it. Started following Wim Hof, and just this guy just blew me away. And
Iceman,
yeah. And I know that's extreme for the listeners, but man, I do cold therapy every day, whether it's a cold shower or a cold plunge, and I just love it. I absolutely.
No, my audience is very familiar with it. I did it earlier today too. So no, please. So cold plunge,
cold therapy for sure, and. Well, it's just, how can I say this? Like really slowing things down. I don't know if that falls under metabolic freedom or not.
It does.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Slowing things down is a real code for me as well, Ben. Like I used to just be so go and hyper productive and all these kind of things. And the more that I can just slow things down, focus on my breathing, be present, and then just, you know, wait for the right things to come up. Like it's hard to explain, and I'm still in this shift, but I've been consciously slowing down over the last 6 months, you know, and it's just letting the magic happen, you know, and that's why I'm here in Miami right now. I slowed down, and the space opened up for me to be here, and it is beautiful.
Would you say, before we get to the third
Sure.
tip there, Bob Proctor, and I keep going back to Bob
love
Proctor.
Bob.
He's right there, by the way. That's his photo. He's
Yeah.
from Toronto. He was from
Yeah, he's
Toronto.
Canadian,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's Canadian. He used to always say that people would tell him, you're 70 years old, you're 75 years old. When are you going to slow down? When are you going to retire? And he said, that's a bunch of nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you want to speed up, but you want to calm down at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that is the case for you? Like you're not in a rush. You're making moves, so you're in speed. You have speed, but
Yeah.
you're calming down at the same time.
Yeah,
Would
that's
that be a fair
genius.
way for that you explained it?
Yeah, slow down to speed up, or slow is smooth and smooth is fast, like Bruce Lee says, for sure. Like in the calmness, you can just respond instead of react, right? And that's key.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so important, and it is tied into metabolic health.
Yeah.
There's going to be an entire chapter in that book all about how your thoughts influence your health,
Yeah.
and that's part of that puzzle there. So absolutely. So what's the third one though?
The third one I would say is discipline, and that's a wide range. However, you know, it could relate to a lot of things. It could relate to food and just being like having the discipline to say no. You know, like I could be at the restaurant and someone wants to order the most decadent cake or something like that. And yeah, it looks awesome. And then your friend's like, oh, just take a little bite, you know?
Everybody's sharing it.
Yeah, you know, and it's like the discipline to be like, no, I'm just going to say no, you know? Or if it's like the discipline to get into the cold plunge or go and do the workout when you don't feel like doing the workout or show up somewhere when you said you were going to show up. Like all these things is discipline is just overriding, you know, what we want to do or don't want to do for what we feel we need to do. And that to me is true freedom, you know, and when you could get in that discipline, like everything I'm choosing to do is bringing me closer to wellness, and wellness can be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial. It's just that the feeling of being well, like abundantly well. Like if you think of a well of water, it's abundant. It just keeps giving and giving because it's tapped in, you know, it's tapped into the source.
Great analogy.
Thank you. And that's, yeah, I'd say discipline is a really big one. And that's the only reason why I'm here today was because I've had discipline in my life. And I had a mentor that taught me the value of discipline about a decade ago. God bless him. He's on the other side now, but one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met in my life.
What was his name?
His name was 𝙎𝙐𝘽𝙎𝘽.
𝙎𝙬𝘽𝙎.
Yeah.
Just got a cool name.
Super rad dude, man. One of a lifetime human being. And he taught me the value of discipline. He had a way of doing his disciplines every day. And his disciplines for him just meant the things that meant the most in life to him. Because he knew if he did these things, he could go to bed at night feeling completely at peace. Knowing that he did all the things that he loved to do. And he didn't let the other things get in the way because he was like, no, these are the disciplines that, you know, will satisfy my soul. So he taught me that. So every day I do my absolute best to do these disciplines, and it's just been such a blessing.
I love it. Great tips. I mean, discipline, it does equal freedom. You're correct. And small little disciplines transfer to other areas, right?
That's right.
When you cold plunge, the hardest part, at least for me, is just getting in. It's like
Yeah,
a negotiation every time, right? Once you're in, then your body adapts and you're fine. You just breathe. And then you develop that discipline and you're happy about it. And then that transfers to other decisions that you make the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Same thing with fasting, same thing with other disciplines. So disciplines transfer, but the opposite is true. If you said you're going to plunge this morning and then you stand in front of it for 2 minutes, you're like, not today.
Yeah.
Then that lack of discipline transfers to other areas, and it's kind of like you feed energy to that. So choose wisely there.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to ask you, we spoke about your supplements, these amazing supplements, eons.com/KetoCamp, code KetoCamp to get them. And by the way, shout out to Josh Trent who connected us.
JT.
Appreciate you. We'll see you soon in Austin, and we'll send him a photo of us sitting here together.
Yeah, for sure.
I talk about another supplement that is also anti-inflammatory, great for the gut, great for mental health, great for depression, great for inflammation. I call it vitamin G. And I call it vitamin G because it's vitamin gratitude.
Ah, nice.
The feeling of gratitude.
Amen.
And all the amazing, incredible benefits that come with feeling gratitude, not just the checklist, but feeling the gratitude. So I want to ask you, Alex, what do you have vitamin G for right now?
Boom. Thank you for that. Vitamin G is like the best vitamin going.
It is. And it's free and there's no upper limit.
It's the best, right? It's really the ultimate hack or the ultimate trick or code to snap out of any
instantaneously.
Funk, because you can't feel gratitude and anxious at the same time,
That's
right? But you said it's really all about the feeling, right? Like you got to feel the gratitude. And I'm, as basic as this might sound, like I'm really grateful to be alive, to be here, and to still be in this game of life. And that in itself to me is just such a gift, like when I just I'm like, wow, I'm in this crazy, weird world of all this wild stuff that's going on. And I don't know what the future holds, but I'm here and I'm tapped in and, I have some cool people in my life. I'm really grateful for that. Just like the awareness that I exist, and that for me is exhilarating.
I love the way you view it as a game. It really is. And who knows where the next level will lead us to, right? Who knows?
Right. Yeah.
We're a soul in this human body that we are renting temporarily.
Yeah.
And energy is not created or destroyed. So, the soul is energy.
Yeah.
it's not going to be destroyed or recreated. It's going to be transferred somewhere. So where is that? That's the next level of the game, right?
If you enjoyed that conversation, be sure to check out my recent interview with Jess Berman, all about how to remove rancid fats like seed oils from your body so you could feel like a rock star.
It's so esoteric. How can you think about your cell membranes, but the importance, that role that the cell membrane has? Because it's not just the cell membrane, it's all of our organelle membranes.